The world isn't what it was yesterday. What worked then may not work now. What worked for others may not work for you. For STADIO, a qualification isn't just a qualification. It's more South Africans equipped with the education they need. It's more students inspired to reimagine their possibilities. It's an entire nation empowered. With 5 faculties, 10 campuses, and over 50 accredited qualifications, undergraduate and postgraduate studies, contact, distance, and blended learning, and a combined 100-year track record of excellence. We are transforming higher education into something that's truly multi-faculty, multi-campus, and multi-mode. Next time you think about what you want to do with your life, think about where you want to do it. This is STADIO, a new vision in higher education.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to STADIO Holdings Annual General Meeting. My name is Vincent Mapai, Chairperson of the STADIO Holdings Board. I would also like to extend a special welcome to all executives and employees at large and to all members of the board present here today. Despite the challenges that COVID-19 continued to present in 2021, the STADIO Group had a successful period last year. The group continued to lay the foundations necessary to ensure sustainable growth going forward. 2022 commenced with opening of the group's first comprehensive campus in Centurion. I continue to believe that the success of STADIO Group is both a moral and commercial imperative in South Africa. Education is critical for the future of our country, and achieving the STADIO Group's purpose of empowering the nation by widening access to higher education is hardly up for debate, and one in which the commercial benefit for the STADIO Group will follow. Today's AGM is conducted entirely by electronic means. All microphones have been muted, and you will only be able to hear from myself and our other speakers. Some additional housekeeping matters to familiarize you with how our meeting will be conducted this morning. I will shortly proceed with the constitution of the meeting and the presentation of financial statements of the company, as well as resolutions in the same order as set out in the notice of the meeting. Upon registration, shareholders would have received the instruction on how voting will occur on the electronic platform. The voting in this meeting will be conducted by poll. I will then hand over to Mr. Chris Foster, the Chief Executive Officer of STADIO Holdings, to take you through a short presentation. Following this presentation, Dr. Busisiwe Vilakazi, the Chairperson of the Transformation Social and Ethics Committee, will present the feedback from the Transformation Social and Ethics Committee. After that, we will then answer any question which can only be submitted through the platform. Questions can be asked by selecting the Q&A icon in the platform and typing the questions in the text box at the bottom of the screen. I will then direct the responses as appropriate. Please feel free to begin submitting your questions as we proceed through the meeting. The voting will then be closed and Computershare, our share registrars, who have been appointed as scrutineers, will tally the votes. Finally, I will make the results of the vote available to you once the poll has been closed. These results will be displayed on the screen. Our scrutineers have confirmed that we have a quorum present in attendance or by proxy, and I therefore declare this to be a properly constituted annual general meeting of the shareholders of the company. On 29 April 2022, the STADIO Holdings notice of annual general meeting was distributed to shareholders and contained the audited summary financial statements for the year 31st December 2021, as well as the reports of the directors, the Audit and Risk Committee, and the remuneration report. Accordingly, the financial statements have been presented as required in terms of the Companies Act and the STADIO Holdings Memorandum of Incorporation. The annual integrated report for the year ended 31st December 2021 and the audited financial statements of the group are available on the group's website or can be obtained from the company at its registered office if required. The notice convening this meeting was posted to shareholders on 29 April 2022, allowing sufficient time for members to peruse the contents thereof. I propose, therefore, that the notice be taken as read. As previously mentioned, on registering for this annual general meeting, shareholders would have received instruction on how voting will occur on the electronic platform. The voting is now opened. For the first resolution, I will hand over to Dr. Busisiwe Vilakazi.
Thank you, Chair. On ordinary resolution number 1, to re-elect Dr. Vincent Mapai as an independent non-executive director. Please record your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Busi. Ordinary resolution number 2, to re-elect Ms. Mathukana Mokoka as an independent non-executive director. Please record your vote. Thank you. Ordinary resolution number 3, to re-elect Mr. Nico Deval as a non-executive director. Please record your vote. Thank you. Ordinary resolution number 5, to reappoint Dr. Busi Vilakazi as a member of the Audit and Risk Committee of the company. Please record your vote. Ordinary resolution number 6, to reappoint Dr. Tom Brown as a member of the Audit and Risk Committee of the company. Please register your vote. Ordinary resolution number 7, to reappoint PricewaterhouseCoopers Incorporated as the auditor. Please record your vote. Ordinary resolution number 8, general authority to issue ordinary shares for cash. Please register your vote. Ordinary resolution number 9, non-binding endorsement of STADIO Holdings remuneration policy. Please record your vote. Thank you. Ordinary resolution number 10, Non-binding endorsement of STADIO Holdings implementation report on the remuneration policy. Please record your vote. Thank you. Ordinary resolution number 11, to amend the STADIO Group Share Incentive Trust Deed. Please record your vote. Thank you. We require your approval for the following special resolutions. Special resolution number 1, remuneration of the chairperson of the board. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 2, remuneration of members of the board. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 3, remuneration of the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 4, remuneration of members of the Audit and Risk Committee. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 5, remuneration of chairpersons of the Remuneration and Nominations Committee. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 6, remuneration of members of the Remuneration and Nominations Committee. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 7, remuneration of the chairperson of the Transformation, Social and Ethics Committee. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 8, remuneration of members of the Transformation, Social and Ethics Committee. Please register your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 9, general authority to provide intercompany financial assistance. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 10, general authority to provide financial assistance for the subscription for and or the acquisition of shares in the company or related or interrelated company. Please record your vote. Thank you. Special resolution number 11, general authority to repurchase shares by the company or its subsidiaries. Please record your vote. Thank you. I will now hand you over to Mr. Chris Foster for his CEO presentation. Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for the opportunity. I must say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited this morning to do the CEO's feedback presentation. Even in this difficult economic times that we find ourselves in, I have some good news to share with our shareholders this morning. 2022 is turning out to be a good year for us here at STADIO. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, my presentation this morning will briefly look on how we're doing with the implementation of our strategy thus far. I will then go and look at some of the 2021 financial and academic highlights. And we will then unpack our excitement of why are we so excited for the future of this company. And then lastly, we will unpack the student numbers for the first semester of the 2022 academic year. Our strategy, ladies and gentlemen, is underpinned, not just our strategy, basically everything that we do here at STADIO is underpinned by our WWS. The WWS standing for widening access, giving more people the opportunity to access higher education, alignment with the world of work, ensuring that our qualifications are relevant and aligned with the world of work, and then also to make sure that our graduates are high in demand in industry. And then our third focus area is that of student-centeredness, making sure that we as an institution support our students to be successful with their studies. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the last 2 years, I've reported or presented back to shareholders how we are progressing with executing our strategy. We've actually identified 3 phases for our company until 2026. Those 3 phases being the positioning phase, the consolidation phase, and then the growth phase. The positioning phase started in 2016 until 2020. During this period, we've acquired the 7 quality brands into STADIO. We've purchased the land in Centurion as well as here in Durbanville to later on build our comprehensive campuses. And we've also started at that stage with the development of a whole list of new programs. From 2020, we moved into the consolidation phase. This phase started with the launch of the new STADIO Higher Education, our first comprehensive institution in the group. This institution came about by merging 4 of the brands into this new STADIO Higher Education. So at the moment, we then have 3 institutions, 3 distinct private higher education institutions with unique offerings, and also 3 institutions with different strategies. In the consolidation phase, we've invested in our distance learning infrastructure, bringing in new systems, processes, and policies, ensuring that our distance learning is geared to accommodate large numbers. Obviously, in this phase, a lot of changes was introduced in the business, making sure that we are establishing a new culture, a new way of doing things in STADIO. We call it, we are busy with STADIOnizing the institution. In the consolidation phase, we've also applied a lot. We've applied for accreditation for quite a number of programs to the Council of Higher Education, but I'll come back to that a bit later. But ladies and gentlemen, we have now entered the next phase, and that is the growth phase. We've entered this phase when we've opened our Centurion campus, a very exciting milestone for us as an institution. This is our real first comprehensive campus where we will be hosting multi-schools, multi-faculties. This new phase that we enter, the growth phase, will also see the successful accreditation of new programs, and we will start introducing those programs at our different campuses. Our shared services are also now well established, and we are in the process of really optimizing our different campuses, making sure that we take product and do site extensions to those sites where we do not have full campuses. And then also exciting, we have now already started with the rollout of the Milpark new strategy of becoming the leader in online learning in South Africa. So in this growth phase, our target is 20% sustainable growth in student numbers going forward. We have now also reached the point where we can explore new markets and new opportunities, and we will continue refine our processes, but we'll also focus on bringing in more technology and innovation into our business. We've reached this stage of stability where we can now do all of these things going forward. So very exciting times for us at STADIO. As we are standing now at this point, we have 3 distinct institutions, as I already mentioned. After the merging of those 4 institutions, we've created STADIO Higher Education, which is our comprehensive institution offering both contact learning and distance learning with multi-programs and multi-schools. This institution follows an operational excellence business strategy to deal with the vast numbers of students. In the group, we are very proud also to host the other two brands. Firstly, AFTA, which is the number one film school in South Africa, a high price point institution, but that offer a real niche product. This institution follow a product leadership business strategy. And then Molpark, well known for their offerings and qualifications in the financial industry as well as in the banking sector. And then obviously with CA Connect, they're very well known for their accounting programs. The Molpark has changed their strategy in this last year, moving away from contact learning. So they're phasing out all their contact learning, not taking in new contact learning students, and Molpark will focus only on online learning going forward. Currently, we have a far-reaching footprint already with 12 campuses in South Africa and 2 in Namibia. In the future, we're planning 1 more campus here in the Western Cape to be at Versantekral. We are already covering the majority of the academic disciplines with our various schools that's hosted under the different brands. These schools include the schools of business, commerce and management, the schools of education, film, media, design, architecture, fashion. We have a school of IT, which is really taking shape. We've just appointed our new head of school, also in the School of IT, and we are awaiting 3 very exciting new degree programs in the school. The School of Law, now also well established, doing very well. Our School of Policing, and then we also have the Business School in the Molpark brand. Soon to come, working really hard behind the scenes, we will see the introduction of 2 new schools, namely the School of Humanities, and then thereafter to follow the School of Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, STADIO is already one of the top 10 biggest institutions in the country, higher education institutions. So we are really well established for going forward into the future from where we are currently. In summary, I can say that with the implementation of our strategy, that we are well on track and well established going forward. Let's quickly look back at the 2021 year, my apology. If we look at the financial highlights of 2021, we see our student numbers went up by 9% to 38,262 students. These are all numbers recorded at the end of the year, the 31st of December. Revenue went up by 18%, EBITDA up to 310 million, headline earnings up to 144 million, our core headline earnings up 27%, that we were very excited about, and our core headline earnings per share also grown by 24%. Over the last 6 years, we see good growth. Important to note that basically the first 3 to 3.5 years, the growth was driven by new acquisitions, but the last 2.5 years, the growth that we've seen there was all coming from organic growth. Student numbers growing due to good offerings, good management of those institutions. All the indicators really moving in the right direction. At the end of December 2021, there is our balance sheet. I think you will all agree, a solid balance sheet with our assets being more than 2.1 billion, total liabilities 418, and then our equity of 1.7 billion. All of this with limited gearing. So a very sound balance sheet at the end of December 2021. Then, ladies and gentlemen, and Chair, I must say, this year we've announced our first maiden dividend, 4.7 cents per share. For us here at STADIO, as a very young business, this was a very exciting time, and we were very proud to announce that dividend. Going forward, I think we will always have the challenge to balance shareholder expectations and returns with that of our growth projects and the financing of it. But I think we are well set in addressing that. Some very quick academic highlights for the 2021 academic year. I must say a lot of hard work goes into our academic project at STADIO. We achieved an 81.6% module pass rate during the 2021 academic year, which is really good. The module dropout rate of 6.8%, still well within the norm of 10%. Exciting, ladies and gentlemen, 8,705 students graduated in 2021. For the CAs and accountants among us this morning, very nice to announce that Millpark delivered the top student from the SAICA ITC board exams, which I think was a fantastic achievement for the Millpark team. In STADIO Higher Education, we've introduced the new Fellow of STADIO Awards at our graduation ceremonies. This went off very well in the media as well. The two first recipients of the Fellow of STADIO Award went to Dr. Matthew Spoza and Mr. Theo Nkombeni, the CEO of Mr. Slimfit. Then really proud to announce, Chair, the 49 research outputs that we've produced during the 2021 academic year. Maybe not as big as some of our well-established public universities, but one must take in mind that STADIO received no subsidy for research nor any funding in this regard. So these 49 research outputs was funded by STADIO, and we are very proud of what we've achieved in this regard. This is also very important for us to keep on producing these research outputs to keep our accreditation in our postgraduate qualifications. As you know, we have both master's and doctorate degrees already accredited at STADIO. Ladies and gentlemen, we always, or not always, often refer to the delays that we experience at the regulator. This process is basically a three-step process. It starts off with an application of a new program to the Council on Higher Education, the CHE. After receiving accreditation, the application then goes to SAQA, and from SAQA, it then goes to the Department of Higher Education in Training that will register that program, and it will then issue a certificate. We as the institution is not allowed to market nor to offer that new program before we've received the registration certificate from the Department of Education. So our experience and our data over the last few years have shown us that this process is now on an average taking between 18 to 20 months for a new program to go through this process. We've got quite a number of programs in the pipeline, 33 high-in-demand programs that is somewhere in this process. And it is programs both from the contact learning as well as from our distance learning offerings. And the programs also cover basically all the schools. So very exciting news, 33 new programs that we are waiting to introduce at our various campuses across our various institutions. When we look at the market and we ask ourselves the question, what is the market potential of higher education? Still, the market is big, as you can see there. In the year 2000, we saw 557,000 higher education students in our country registered at registered higher education institutions. That number increased to 1.3 million students in 2020, with 219,000 of those students being serviced by private higher education institutions, which is only 17% of the number. Our universities, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, have capacity constraints. In 2020, 409,000 students qualified in grade 12 for university entry, but our universities had to show away more than 200,000 of those matrics. So definitely there is a big market for higher education. There's a big demand for it, and it is ever growing. Also, not being shown here on this slide is the size of the adult market, which is actually bigger than the school leavers market shown on the slide. So now the question, why are we so excited about the future of STADIO? Ladies and gentlemen, the growth that we've seen up to now, the 8%, 9% over the last 2 years, is really growth that came from predominantly the qualifications that we had at the institutions over the last 2 years. Very few new qualifications were accredited over the last 2 years. So this growth really came from good management, sticking to our strategy, and really establishing the brand in the country, as well as in Namibia and beyond the borders into the rest of Africa. Very exciting is that we have that 33 new programs in the pipeline that will come in, that we will populate all our different campuses, that would really see student numbers pick up. I will show with one of my next slides coming up a bit later what the effect of that is when we actually move a new program onto a site that was normally just a one faculty site, where we then bring a new faculty with a new program on. You will see what the impact of that is on a campus. So very exciting news, all those new programs still to come in during the next few months and years to come. We are very well established with our distance learning programs. Our infrastructure is strong. We are making improvements and constructing at the Krugersdorp campus to make sure that we can deal with our growing numbers. This improvements that we are doing on the Krugersdorp campus will also put us in a position to bring in more efficiencies in our distance learning offering. The canvas is now well established in the distance learning offering, and we receive very good feedback from our learners making use of Canvas in their teaching and learning that they receive from the institution. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we've got good and we are well priced, really having a whole range of affordable products in our 3 institutions. Even at AFTA, where we see high price programs, if we compare that with the competition, we see that we are actually well priced. And then lastly there, that really excites us is that we believe that with the Kulisa student share scheme that we've introduced this year, we will create a lifelong learning partnership with our current students. We will see our students doing their first degrees with our institutions, but we strongly believe by giving them this Kulisa student share scheme, they will come back and complete postgraduate studies with us and even move on in doing skills programs as their careers progress and stay lifelong learners with the institution. So very exciting news for us as an institution, well established for the future in really going forward and growing the business. Let's look at our 2022 student numbers as far. So during the pre-listing statement, we set ourselves a few targets. We've met all the targets we've set ourselves up to this point. Our next target in the pre-listing statement is that of 56,000 students that we want to achieve by the year 2026. If we look on where we are tracking currently, these are numbers as on the end of May 2022. We have 38,414 students registered. In comparison with last year, June, we had 34,494 students. So nice growth already this year. These numbers will obviously still change to the end of the year as the second semester registrations has just started. So well positioned going forward for 2022. To reach the goal of 56,000 students by 2026, we need to grow the business annually by 8%. We've already achieved that last year, growing by 9%, and I think we're well on course in reaching this target of 56,000 students. If I can quickly unpack our numbers for this year, 2022, this is now first semester student numbers. We see the distance learning at STADIO growing again by 15% from 28,000 students to 32,000 students. Contact learning up, or unfortunately still a bit down by 4%. The main reason for this being those two poor intakes during the COVID period, 2020 and 2021. But as I will show in later slides, there is good news also in our contact learning business, showing a turnaround in new student numbers in contact learning. So we also feel that we are turning the corner in our contact learning space. Overall student numbers then for the group, including all three of the institutions, we show 11% student growth, 11% student number growth for the first semester 2022. The biggest contributors to growth, firstly in the distance learning space, comes from the STADIO Higher Education Institution, showing growth of distance learning of 18%. And then our School of Education grew by 35%. And very exciting still, the CA Connect business, that's now part of Millpark, grew by 43%. So good, solid growth in the distance learning offerings. The biggest contributors to growth in our contact learning, we see coming from AFTA, which is already a well-established and mature business, high price programs. For them to show 6% growth at this stage, the numbers can still change getting to the end of the year, I think is a fantastic effort, and we're very proud of what we've achieved in the AFTA business especially. A big shout out must go there to the management of the institution, both AFTA, Millpark. And then exciting, Chair, still in the contact learning space, we see growth of 27% in student numbers at our Centurion campus. New student growth, this is what is really exciting for me. If we look at new student growth, we see contact learning is actually turning the corner, and we see a 2% growth in new student numbers. What makes this exciting is the fact that we must remember that Millpark has not registered any new contact learners for 2022. So this is growth coming from the other contact learning campuses, excluding any new students from Millpark. So we're really busy turning the corner with a growth of 2% in our new contact learning students. Distance learning, good growth of 19% of new students, bringing new student growth at 16%. Just to illustrate to our shareholders the strategy, where we've started to implement strategy, meaning taking 1 or 2 new programs to a campus, you can see what happened on those campuses. Although these are still small numbers, we're very excited. You will see Centurion campus showing 26% growth in new students, with only 1 new program that we've launched there. At the Waterfall campus, we brought law to that campus. Previously, it was just an education campus, and our new students went up by 83%. Musgrave, similar, new student growth of 42% and Bellville 9%. So very exciting news. This will now be rollovers, and one will reap the benefits for the next few years to come of these good first-year intakes. Contact learning, I must admit that COVID did play a significant role, and it did have an impact on our contact learning numbers. Also the fact that Molpark is no longer enrolling or registering contact learners, it have an impact on those numbers. But we are very excited, as I just indicated, with the new student numbers registering in the contact learning space. After high fee product, but very pleasing growth in contact learning, and then the STADIO higher education institution showing also new student growth. That's very exciting. Distance learning, ladies and gentlemen, very solid. We show good growth. We're very well positioned. As already indicated, the Canvas virtual learning platform is doing very well for us. We are already the second biggest provider of distance learning education in our country. And we really have our sights set of becoming an alternative for UNISA. We're really pushing our distance learning to grow going forward, and we are well set to do just that. Quick other updates for 2022. I already mentioned that we are busy with construction. It's actually improvements at our Krugersdorp Distance Learning Logistics Center. The improvements that we are making there would put us in a position to really improve our distance learning offering even more, and to make it even more scalable, and really offering a great service to more and more students going the route of distance learning. We are continuing with the rollout of the Kulisa Student Share Scheme, which is very well received by our students, as well as ex-alumni. At the School of IT, I already dealt with. Exciting new programs coming in there. Our doctoral postgraduate programs, we were a bit worried of how students will react to our doctorate studies, and I must say we are already oversubscribed for 2023 as well. So we're looking at creating more capacity in that regard. Very exciting developments in our postgraduate part of the business. Then, Chair and shareholders, we have now also reached the stage where we can look at incorporating and bringing in more sport into the different campuses, looking at participating in organized and competitive sport, and then also participating in competitions that you will normally see other universities, public universities participating in. We're doing all the groundwork in this regard, and hopefully over the next few months or a year, we will make announcements that STADIO will also participate in these sporting events, which is very exciting, I think, for our students as well. A big thank you for Kate, our company secretary, responsible for our integrated report. Those of you who haven't seen it yet, you can find it there on our website. Chair, I want to conclude. I started my presentation by saying that we're very excited to do the presentation this morning. I also want to end with the same message, saying that we've shown 27% core headline growth in 2021. That was done without all our strategies of new programs new site extensions being implemented. We are really well positioned with our distance learning. We are well staffed at our different campuses, and we really believe that the business is very solid and that we are well positioned to grow going forward. That is my presentation, Chair. I will now hand over to Dr. Busisiwe Vilakazi, our Chairperson of the Transformation, Social and Ethics Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, shareholders, fellow board members, and everyone present today. My name is Busisiwe Vilakazi. I am the Chairperson of the Transformation, Social and Ethics Committee of the STADIO Holding Board. As you know, TSEC assists the board in monitoring and reporting on the group's performance against its social, ethics, transformation, as well as stakeholders' relation to ensure that the group remains a good corporate citizen. I will briefly provide a report on the initiative carried by the group in this regard. So when it comes to a transformation, STADIO recognizes the critical role it needs to play in the development and empowerment of historically disadvantaged individuals in this country. Hence, in the period under review, the group focused on two main activities. So it looked in terms of the BEE compliance, the group reassessed its overall triple BEE strategy, and it has started implementing initiatives, including a staff development plan in this financial year. In terms of the actual levels themselves, Milpark achieved a level 2 triple BEE rating, while the STADIO Higher Education achieved a level 8. On the second element, when it comes to a transformation, the STADIO focus on employment equity, and it has developed a plan that has been approved by the board, and the group is currently implementing the target set in that plan to ensure that it achieves on its employment equity objectives. And just that graph below just shows the overall current staff demographics within the group, and the whole point of the employment equity plan is to ensure that these demographics do align with the national as well as the regional demographics of where STADIO operates. The groups, as Chris has also highlighted in his presentation, the group's main aim is really to empower the nation by widening access to higher education, and this speaks directly to the Sustainable Development Goal element of providing quality education, not just access, but also ensuring that the education is of quality. And in keeping with the overall core business of the group has registered a STADIO Kusasa Foundation, which is a group bursary trust. And this trust will be used as a vehicle for administering all the bursaries within the group. And Milpark has established its own bursaries trust, as Chris has already highlighted in this presentation, how the actual group is actually structured. Hence, that was the approach that was taken. In terms of the expenditure, in terms of bursaries, discount, and scholarship, the group spent about 25 million on that. And as Chris has already excitedly mentioned earlier, that the group launched the STADIO Khulisa Student Share Scheme. And really this is empowering the graduate and turning them into owners, shareholders of their institution. And STADIO as a group remains committed to providing a safe and a healthy environment for all its stakeholders. And it continues to implement the relevant national regulation when it comes to COVID-19. And also, STADIO has prioritized overall student and staff wellness. And in this regard, it has partnered with the South African Depression and Anxiety Group to ensure that it supports its stakeholders with overall mental health. And the figures below just show what Chris has also highlighted in this presentation, just a breakdown of the mode of delivery, the racial diversity, as well the gender diversity of the current student population. As you know, the board is also responsible for promoting an ethical culture within the group. And this is supported by the Transformation Social and Ethics Committee. And ethics within STADIO are embedded in the ethics pledge, as well as the code of conduct. And this is applies to all employees, staff, as well as the stakeholders that the group interacts with. And to ensure that this ethical culture and climate is embedded within the organization, the group is looking into introducing a whistleblowing policy, as well as a hotline. The group truly believes that it has an important role to play in educating and equipping the students that come through its doors to ensure that they enter the world of work with the necessary skill, as well as the consciousness to be able to be advocates for sustainable development in whichever space they occupy. And the group mainly does this in three main ways: by integrating modules within the curriculum that provides the student with the understanding and the knowledge of the world that we live in, as well as the climate-related risk that we currently are grappling with. And it also actually includes the climate-related activities in the academic projects that students undertake as part of the community engagement. And a huge focus is that is actually creating social impact, where students actually go and endeavor on projects that are actually creating a social impact in the environment that they come from. And lastly, really, all these activities are mainly aimed at producing graduates that are socially and environmentally conscious and responsible, and are able to actually advocate for sustainable development, as I mentioned earlier. And in terms, when it comes to the ESG reporting, as Chris has indicated in his presentation, the group is still, a lot of processes have been put in place, and they're currently also putting processes and system in place to be able to capture the relevant metrics that will allow the group to be able to report on the ESG related matters. And I'm coming to the end of my presentation. And to this effect, as TSEC, we are satisfied that we have achieved objective set under the period under review. And that is all for my side. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll now hand over to the chair.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Chris and Busi. We will now respond to questions sent through by shareholders. May I remind you that questions may be asked by selecting Q&A icon in the platform and typing the questions in the text box at the bottom of the screen. Please submit any question you may have, and we will address these. Following the answers, we will close the voting.
Thank you, Chair. The first question is from Anthony. And Anthony, I see there's quite a few questions coming through. So good morning and thank you for your questions. Anthony says, good morning. Thanks for the AGM and pleasing voluntary update. Anthony Clark here. Question 1. Can you please give me an update on your application for university status? I'm aware Advotech are also applying. Are you a private tertiary body speaking with one voice to the Department of Education, or are you all doing separate submissions?
So yes, thank you, Anthony, and good morning also from my side. So Anthony, there is no application for university status in from any of the private higher education institutions. Advitech, however, started a case asking the minister or demanding the minister to release the standards and requirements for university status. That has not been forthcoming yet, so we as private higher education institutions are still awaiting those standards and requirements. So no applications in yet for a degree status.
Question 2. What is the progress of accrediting the long list of subjects you were waiting for from the department to inspect and accredit? There were delays as the department had run out of money to accredit. Have you received any more qualifications to offer?
Yes, as indicated, the process is really a long and tedious process at the moment, with some of the regulators' offices being understaffed. There's a whole range of qualifications, as already indicated, somewhere in the process. Qualifications that we are very confident of, that's already with the Department of Higher Education and SAQA, so confident that we will offer them still in 2023, includes the following: for example, the Bachelor's of Business Information Systems, the Higher Certificate in Vocational Training, which is very exciting in the education space. We will definitely offer our new BCom General with a few specialist streams, both DL and CL. In the Molpark business, they will offer a new BCom in accounting on that already very successful platform. We also see new qualifications, for example, the Higher Certificate in Architecture that will definitely be offered in 2023. BA Law, contact learning will also come in. So there's a whole range of new programs coming through from the regulator. And we're confident that those that I've mentioned are guaranteed, but we are still hoping for a few more of them to come through.
Thanks, Chris. Question 3. I see more learners are migrating from physical to online, Millpark being one of them. Can you give an update on Millpark, which has been a weak performing asset, and how is it performing now?
So we're very happy with what is happening currently at Millpark. They really found the niche in the market, focusing on online, really becoming the leader in online education in the country. Must say that there is a difference between online learning and distance learning with online support. So they are a full online institution. With saying yes, there is growth in that market, most definitely. But we also, as indicated in my presentation, also see growth again at our various campuses, with school leavers taking up their spaces again on the different campuses. So a nice balance covering the market who wants to attend only online in the Millpark business, and then also having the option of attending a campus in our contact learning offerings.
There was a great 15% rise in the period in online learners. For interest's sake, what are the fast growing and popular courses that are getting traction and drawing learners to STADIO?
Again, I just want to clarify that the good growth is for distance learning at large. That include distance learning with online support as well as purely online. So we must just make sure that is clear. The big growers in our distance learning is definitely education. I think they are leading the numbers, and then a good growth also in the School of Management and Administration, and then obviously from Millpark, the CA Connect business, especially accountancy.
Another question from Anthony. can I ask on inflationary cost push? You're better insulated than most as your asset light. But can I get a feeling of your current cost push? Can you share what your blended average learner fee for both physical and online courses have been and your expectations for the coming academic year?
Yes, the average price for a student in 2021 was 28,000, just over 28,000, 28,691 Rand per student. Going forward, 2023, we do suspect that we will have inflationary increases, so prices might increase, linked to inflation rates for next year. There are some programs that we really try to keep affordable and see how we can keep this cost at a minimum, especially looking at your School of Policing, where we try not to increase prices rapidly especially in that School of Policing.
Another question from Anthony. Can I ask regarding CapEx, what is your current approximate cash or gearing levels and your CapEx requirements ahead?
So currently, Samara, you are with me. I think our cash is looking quite good at the moment, with approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 200 million Rand cash. The CapEx that we've budgeted for this year, Anthony, is 83 million. The majority of that will go to fund the phase 2 of the Centurion campus, and then also for the construction or the improvements at the Krugersdorp distance learning logistics center.
There are a few questions talking to the same theme, saying, can you give an indication of what new qualification approvals have come through since the last results?
So I think, Kate, I already covered that. Those were those qualifications in IT, education, BCom, higher certificate in architecture, and then also in law, the BCom and BA law that we can now offer via contact learning. In the past, those qualifications were only offered via distance learning.
Thank you, Chris. Can you elaborate a bit on how you will achieve the 20% higher run rate of growth? What will the financial implications be?
So again, very little cost will come in. Not a lot of investment needed to get to that point. We've already established the infrastructure. We've already paid for the development of the programs that's in the pipeline. So how will we get there? We will introduce the new programs to the various campuses where we still have space on the campuses. And as already indicated during my presentation, where we've done that, we've seen an 83% or 84% increase at Waterfall by introducing a new program on that campus. So the infrastructure is there, not a lot of CapEx needed to get to this 20% growth number that we set ourselves. The infrastructure is there. It is now just putting down these qualifications and obviously appointing staff to support the students with the teaching and learning.
Linked to that, what do you see as the current bottlenecks to achieving that 20% growth? Is it simply the delay in academic programs?
Yes, it's definitely that. And our site extensions. And as indicated, that is coming through nicely now, and I think we would be in a much better position going into 2023.
Is there any appetite for STADIO to look at building a TVET division of its own, given the importance placed on TVET as a strategic national priority? Will STADIO look to enter this space?
Yes, definitely. It's a topic that's up for discussion currently in our EXCO, as well as going to the board later on the year during our strat session. We have now reached the point where we can look at new markets and at new opportunities in expanding the business. We've steadied the ship. We've amalgamated the institutions. We've put down our new policies and systems. So I think all of these opportunities will come into play over the next few years, and we will definitely look at those opportunities as well.
Then again, looking at the delays with the regulator, you have 33 qualifications that are in the pipeline that have been delayed. When do you anticipate seeing them rolling out?
So I've mentioned a few qualifications already that was accredited and registered, and the others, it would roll out over the next year to 18 months, 12 to 18 months from now going forward, to basically get all 33 of those qualifications coming through.
Then it is not clear whether the in-process qualifications are wholly delayed due to the regulator or the quality of the submissions. What is STADIO's track record in terms of seeking accreditation with the regulator? How many times are requests for accreditation returned for work or rejected outright?
So I'm very proud to say that we have a very good track record in this regard. Of all those programs that we've submitted since 2016, we had only one new program that was rejected. And we've since then made those changes to the program and submitted again. So definitely the quality of our applications, I'm very proud of, and can say without doubt that we are submitting very good quality programs. Before we submit any program for accreditation, it goes through a rigorous process. We also include advisory committees with very sound and well-respected academics as well as industry. So we won't submit a new program for accreditation before we are happy and comfortable that it is a quality program that we send for accreditation.
Thank you, Chris. I don't see any further questions coming through.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions too. The polls are now closed, and all votes will be counted by the scrutineers. Thank you very much, Wynand. As you can see, resolutions 1 to 6 have passed by requisite majority. The same applies to ordinary resolution 7 to special resolution number 4. Thank you. Again, special resolution number 5 till 11, all of them have passed by requisite majority. Thanks to our shareholders. Thank you for your continued support and for attending the annual general meeting. I now declare the meeting closed, and thanks to everyone. Ke a leboga. Dankie enkosi.